So there's been a lot of news about Caitlin Clark recently, and this will just kind of be a super episode, but it's spawned on by the fact that congratulations to Caitlin Clark. She is won Rookie of the Year, although, of course, it is not unanimous. It was 66 to 67 votes. And we all remember that one voter that put Angel Reese as MVP, a very unserious vote. And it's an epic troll job. I'm sure that lots of people are going to be losing their minds. I'm sure Ben Daniels is going to be calling a spade here, and Twitter's going to be in an uproar over it. But I think the best way to take this is that when you have unserious voters on a serious vote, you're going to get unserious results, and that's just what it is. And really, it's laughable on its face because Clark is she's in a class of her own. You can talk about how good this rookie class is, how amazing of a season Angel Reese had with her rebounds, and coming in having lower expectations and exceeding them. I would say that Caitlin Clark even exceeded my expectations for her and how good she would be in her first season in a very difficult role like point guard. But you talk about, Rakia Jackson, Phoebich was amazing. Like, there's so many good rookies this year. But the reality is, she's literally the greatest rookie in WNBA history. You can debate that, but you would be wrong. Candace Parker had fan voting for MVP. If there was any portion of fan voting for MVP for this year, Asia's unanimous is impossible. And in fact, Clark would probably move up the rankings. I don't think she would still win MVP voting, but she would move up. She would probably be second if you had a big enough weight in fan voting. We clearly saw that with the All-Star voting. So, and you compare her to Simone Augustus, who she broke her scoring record and she did it in less shots than Simone Augustus did, which great for Simone Augustus in breaking that record. That was a phenomenal scoring season. Didn't really pan out after that. But Caitlin Clark, the future is so bright, and a lot of people, the phrase that keeps coming up is like, this is her floor. I think this is an amazing season. Like, like there is a world where, like, in the future, as she ages out or something, if before she retires, depending on when she retires, or she's in a weird position where she could be a Diana Taurasi and play for, till the wheels fall off because she's that kind of player. She could LeBron it, that kind of stuff. But she's also going to be so financially set by there's some point where I think this year too is definitely she felt it of the I've been going basketball. I need a little bit of a break. That you might see there's a world where like she retires early. She surprises people a la Candace Parker. I don't think she'll be as early as Maya Moore or have that situation. But it wouldn't surprise me if she ends it earlier than she could, just because she can. And there's other things that she wants to tackle in life and conquer or whatever. There's no serious world where you wouldn't vote her as number one overall for Rookie of the Year. It's just open and shut case. However, listen, if one errant vote worked for Asia Wilson, then I'm just saying, Caitlin Clark, take it personally. I mean, I think that's my biggest hope. As much as she's said that she's gonna go golfing, like we all know that like that's gonna last. She deserves that. That's gonna last her a bit, and then she's gonna get the itch, and then I hope she gets in the lab and gets cooking. And I hope that she brings players that she know are going to be there next year. I hope that Lexi Hall, Aaliyah Boston, they can have like a little meetup. I guess whoever's not playing, overseas or something like that, because there are going to be some of those players. But if there's any players that are still home, get them together, work together, really take that chip, put it on your shoulder, and walk in next season and just start blowing teams out, especially with the way that this offseason is looking. Because Lynn Dunn, in a recent interview, signaled that help is on the way. There are lots of players that are interested in coming to Indiana, playing with Caitlin Clark, and who wouldn't? You're going to be playing in front of sellout crowds every night. You are going to have the most attention, the most eyes, the most opportunity. That if you are confident in yourself, and this is the kind of players I would want on a team. If you're confident in yourself and you're like, I can go over there and I can contribute, I can make a difference, I believe in my skill, and you could be good in Indiana, you will be beloved. Your popularity, your brand will skyrocket, your future potential earnings will skyrocket. Like if I'm a player and I actually believe in myself and I believe in my skill, I'm going to play with Caitlin Clark. If I can run in that system, if I can play defense, if I have any sort of offensive talent as well to contribute, force my agent to like figure out a way to get into Indiana. And that makes sense. That is the type of players that Lynn Dunn has signaled. You know, they want players that can run with Clark. They want players that can play in that system. They're fully on board. Also signaled that Kelsey Mitchell is a priority for them to keep, which I agree. Whether Kelsey Mitchell is in that starting shooting guard, whether she is off the bench to be key in certain situations, I don't care. She is an amazing scorer. She was so consistent for us that back half of the season. The playoffs, you know, has its own things. There's only 2 games. It happens, but that backstretch by Kelsey Mitchell, that backcourt was the greatest backcourt in WNBA. And if they, you know, if they actually had a season where they could pull that off, holy hell! I mean, they would go down as the goats. But we'll see. We'll see whether they can resign her. They're clearly going to core. They're clearly going to try to put their best offer forward. And I agree with Kelsey Mitchell that she, negotiating wise, she needs to look at other offers because the best offer she can get is going to benefit her down the road. And everybody should do this. It's not a sentimental hometown, I want to be with Caitlin Clark thing. It's like, I need to get as much money as possible. So help is coming for Caitlin Clark. And I'm happy that they're celebrating Caitlin Clark. And the funny thing is like a lot of people, I think, don't know this, don't remember this. I don't know, because I saw so many videos, articles, or people on X, of course, saying things like, I can't believe they haven't announced Caitlin Clark, and obviously it was leaked. The WNBA last year has a schedule that rolls out. And so these things are planned. Now, if I was the WNBA, as a marketing strategy, I would scrap whatever schedule you have. Basically be like, hey, Caitlin Clark, will you show up at the finals? Anything that get Caitlin Clark in the building at a finals is going to shoot up everything, right? So from that standpoint, I'm going to take my most valuable asset and I'm going to display it during a huge moment, and not during like the you know, when someone's going to win, you could take away prestige from the teams, whatever. But like have her show up, have her get the trophy, do the thing, have a little moment on broadcast, have her in the building, have her freaking announce a quarter or whatever. Hop on there. There's so much opportunity that the WNBA is just too crappy to capitalize on, but they should be doing that. And even though the timing feels a little bit awkward, especially too, right? It's not as awkward as like Nike's terrible shirt. Like I don't even know what that is. I don't know who would want to buy that. That it's just, it feels like they gave the new intern the Caitlin Clark Rookie of the Year project, and they just tried to get something out as fast as possible. Caitlin Clark can sell you so many things, but if you actually just make a terrible thing, if you take a piece of poop and you stamp Caitlin Clark's name on it, it's only going to sell so much. I believe it would still sell some. I mean, people will still might get confused. There's weird people out there. It's crazy that Nike is not just rallying behind the Caitlin Clark effect, the phenomenon. Like Wilson is selling out basketballs. I even have, well, I just arrived. It's crazy to me that this, as big as Nike is, and everything that they're not like realizing this moment. And I don't know what internal politics is happening in the background. I don't know if it has to deal with the Asia Wilson stuff that happened earlier this year, where she had a shoe and she acted like she didn't, but there was really a shoe all along. And now the word is that Caitlin Clark's shoe isn't going to arrive till 2026, which is weird. Like, why is it going to be the 3rd season when Caitlin Clark, the LeBron James of women's basketball, you know, when LeBron got his shoe for a season, you're going to make Caitlin Clark wait because Asia Wilson's the unanimous MVP? I don't know. It's all kind of silly to me. And I know that Clark is, in some ways, is sentimental. Like, and any basketball player should be. It's like you want to play for the biggest brands, the brands that you idolized and grew up loving, play near home. And if Indiana has the first overall draft pick, whether you want to challenge yourself in the next step or not, you're gonna go. Be close to home, you're gonna reap all those benefits. So I understand that probably plays into her psyche of what deal she takes, where she wants to even play as a player, why she might not ever go play for a team on the West Coast, whatever have you, unless there is that sentimental connection. But the biggest weight in the room, even at Nike, is Caitlin Clark right now. And Nike has Caitlin Clark on the most sweetheart of deals. Like their value for 8 years of her brand is insane. When you look at it now and what her trajectory is, like that is a crazy stock buy. Like that's some crazy stuff. So again, that means more that you should be putting as much effort into it. You shouldn't be having a Steph Curry situation where you get him for 4 years and then you lose him. So in Clark, maybe they feel comfortable because they have her for those 8 years. On top of that, Caitlin Clark right now, if she wanted to, I'd be picking up that phone and I'd be calling back Steph Curry. I'd be calling back whoever and be like, hey, when can you have me in my shoe? Because there's one thing of like the brand and the dreams, and there's another piece of it that is, what do you serve to your fans and the people that support you and, you know, the little girls that you talk about. I think there's a valid complaint that if Nike's making you crappy merch, if they're making you crappy, if they're pushing off your shoe, I want to go to some place that wants me and wants to capitalize on and work with me to make awesome stuff. And maybe Nike's doing that. Maybe they're doing tons of stuff in the background. Maybe Caitlin Clark said, slow roll my shoe for Asia Wilson. You know, I want to be a good player for the WNBA. I mean, she's trying to give them money, you know, on the back end. You know, when Fever are traveling for games, she wanted to pay spot bonuses. WNBA said no. Everybody's telling her no when she wants to do these things, but she doesn't brag about them. She doesn't talk about them, but she gets all the hate and her fan base gets all the hate. But whatever. I mean, despite all of this, I'm happy that she won Rookie of the Year. I'm happy that she gets to have a bit of her moment. The Fever video that they launched was absolutely precious, of her team rallying around her and celebrating her Rookie of the Year. And ultimately, I don't care about troll voters. Like if you care, that's how they win. I don't really give a crap about them. They can have their unserious vote. We all know we all know who the Rookie of the Year was, and we knew it back in July and even earlier than that, maybe. So I hope that Clark takes this as motivation. I hope she gets back in the lab. I hope she cooks up and just the Fever come out and dominate next season. And I hope she dominates next season. As always, remember, you're going to be amazing today because you are amazing. Catch you next episode.